A Hitchhiker Chronicles Tome 1, Hitchhiking with a Trip, Chapter, Borders Crossing, cover page. Crossing a border should be technically easy enough. After all, that it is crossing it on land, aboard a ship, on a train, or on a plane, as long as you have all the proper paperwork in order and that you have nothing to declare. But if you declare something, you better have the proper paperwork for it. Hopefully, you are not carrying any illegal drugs, weapons, or whatever else being legal or forbidden products that could get your entry denied. Don't you forget, if you are carrying with you or in your luggage $10,000 worth in cash or more, to declare it. Otherwise, you might get in big trouble. Oddly enough, I never had that kind of a problem. I don't mean getting caught with $10,000 or more. I mean I never had that kind of money from the start anyway. You want to get me with 10,000? I don't have it. By the way, I travel being such an organized people. Okay, I started again. By the way, I travel. Okay, that's how I should have said. By the way, I travel being such an organized person. At times, the crossing of a border for me became quite funny, or eventful, or right down dangerous. And at one time, practically a human judicial, on a jury, there's no way, legally, on a level improbable. That's not, I should have never crossed there, but I did, I guess. I have hitchhiked so far in 17 countries, including Canada, so obviously I've crossed a few borders. Most of those crossings have been easy breezy, so I don't have anything to declare about them. But others are more memorable to me, so I will share only 5 of them with you. According to the plan, God's willing, I will cross many other borders. I intend to travel and hitchhike a lot more in the coming years. If I ever write a tome 2, I might have a few more stories to tell about border crossing borders. But maybe not. We will see then. But for now, I hope that you will enjoy the next 5 borders crossing. At the speed that the train was going, if there would have been cows in the field, we would have the time to count them. About an hour or so before we had entered Macedonia. Its crossing visa cost me 5,000 Deutschmark. I just bought with whatever I had left a half-full lighter and a cold coffee. Suddenly, for some reason, the train had stopped again. Some guy came by and checked our tickets. I showed him mine, and so did Don Bennett, reference chapter Embassies and A Friend in Need, a Friend Indeed. A looking 20-year-old man with a shoulder-strapped submachine gun followed, requesting to see the passports. Don gave him hers. He scanned it with an electronic device, gave it back to her, and then he asked for mine. He started flipping through its pages and angrily, he was angered. He was kind of mad. Told me no visa. I tried to tell him in English that I just bought a visa not too long ago. He didn't speak much more English than just no visa. So to prove him wrong, wanting to show him that last bought visa, I'll show you. I ripped my passport from his hands. He didn't really like that. There were more officials behind him, checking out other things, but they couldn't go past him. It created a little procedural backlog. There was a traffic jam there, and everybody was wondering what the fuck. A very tall and husky 40 to 50-year-old officer arrived, coming to see what was going on. He talked to the young officer. The younger one pointed at me and said, "No visa." I thought to myself, oh shit, I'm in big trouble now. In perfect English, the older one asked me politely to see my passport. I turned it to the page of my last paid visa and gave it to him. "Well, that visa is for Macedonia," he said. So I asked him, "Where are we here?" "We are in the Democratic Republic of Serbia. You need a visa to enter." I said, "How much costs the visa?" He answered with a smile, "It's free." Fuck, eh? I was shitting, not for real, my pants for no reason. I had no more money, man. I couldn't buy another fucking one. Couldn't buy a fucking chocolate bar. Never mind a visa. I had to get out of the train. They had to phone in Belgrade to get a teletype authorization. I didn't want to leave the train without my backpacks in case it leaves. When I reached for my backpacks on the rack, the young officer jabbed the end of his submachine gun barrel in my ribs. Right, my ribs, fucking, I just slapped it out and off. The poor Dawn didn't know what to think anymore. I told her that if the train started to leave, to please toss my backpacks out of the window. The older officer said there's no problem, the train will wait, so I got out. After a half hour, I got the visa, shook hands, and got back on the train. Chapter Borders, Slovak Republic, Czech Republic, October 13th, 1997. A little shot of water here. Okay, I am now in QT, Slovak Republic. I successfully made it by train I successfully made it there by train from Bratislava. Bratislava is a Slovak Republic capital, right? But now all my whatever leftover funds are gone. So I'm back hitchhiking. I'm not sure if I would need a visa to enter in Czech Republic from here. Looking back over the last few days, I might not need one or I might need one. If I don't need one, no problem. If I do need one, will it cost me something or will it be free? Since I'm broke, I do not dare try to inquire. Like I didn't go around, hey man, you know how much it costs? I got no money, man, shut up. We'll see what will happen. Qui vivra, verra. Whatever will be, will be. I walked to the end of QT with a CZ sign, like CZ. Usually in Europe, when you want to go from one country to another, you just write down that next country abbreviation. I got at the end of town. There is only 3 kilometers left from Breklav, first Czech city. Like in one finish, you want to. Not too many cars going by. I started to wonder if I was in a good spot. Half an hour after, an Alfa Romeo with 2 young men up front, reference number 72, picked me up. They were listening to some very good French rap music. I guess them is like the best rapper in France, singing French. And I'm in Slovak Republic, going to Czech, whatever. Alfa Romeo being quite an expensive kind of cars, due to the age of the occupants and the type of music being played, I started to wonder if I wasn't picked up by some kind of dealers or something like that, right? That's being a little bit prejudiced, but you never know, right? Anyway, I'm in the car and we are going in the right direction. I was still musing about the possible need of a visa. When we got, I only have 3 clicks to get there. When we got close to the border control gates, I kind of asked them if they knew if I needed a visa to get across. They both turned around smiling and showed me their wallets. Both had, they opened up their wallets, both had border patrol police officers' badges in them. We lined up, got to the gate. The outside standing officer talked in a friendly manner to them. They pointed at me, probably mentioning that to him that I was a hitchhiking Canadian, and parked the car in the official parking, but on the Czech side. So I'm across, right? We got out, smoked cigarettes together, about 5 minutes. They went in to work, and I walked away. That's it. I'm across. All that worrying for nothing. Easy does it. I didn't walk too far, just to the end of the parking lot, and crossed over. I stood there about half hour, got picked up, reference number 73, going to Brno. Chapter Borders Crossing, Switzerland, Austria. December 20th, So I'm at the border of Switzerland and Austria. December 20th, so 5 days before Christmas, 2003. It was a little cold in my tent last night at minus 17 Celsius or so. From across the train station, I had to go left but not right, reference chapter police, and simply follow the St. Margaritan signs. I am heading to Czech Republic to spend Christmas in České Budějovice with my friends. To do this, I have to cross over to Austria in 30-40 kilometers or so. Once successfully across, I'll go north to the southeast end of Germany, cross over to Germany, then hang a right towards Český Krumlov in Czech Republic, get into Czech Republic, go to Český Krumlov, and finally make my way to České Budějovice and visit my friends for the ho-ho-ho. But first, I have to get in Austria. If I get a ride through the border, I am okay. If not, I might have to show some money or being able to prove that I have some as means of survival. It is not because I will be saying that I am just traveling quickly through that they'll have to let me in. What guarantee do they have that I will not just hang around somewhere, perhaps beg for money, do some mischief, or try to work illegally? I ended up pretty much walking all the way to the border. I got a couple very short rides, but nothing to get me right to the border or across it. Perhaps people driving were being a little paranoid to cross the border with a stranger on board. After all, he's a stranger. You never know nowadays. As I am walking toward the controlled border, I am thinking of what I will say to get across. I am not a good poker player, even less a good liar. It shows in my body language and in my face right away. Experienced border guards should be able to recognize when someone lies to them. The less question answered, the better for me. Depending on the question asked, well, I might have the proper answer to get across. I made my way in plain view. They could see me coming from afar. The 50-year-old border guard that processed me, when he saw my Canadian passport, said to me, "I have a cousin in Toronto. I visited him a couple of years ago. What a great country. Wow, man, the guy been to Canada, right? So I inquired a little about this trip, and then he said, a Canadian hitchhiking without money? Merry Christmas, and he let me through." Chapter Border Crossing, Mexico, USA, May 2006. Early in the morning, I had arrived in Matamoros from Tampico on the bus. My AA, Alcoholic Anonymous, godfather, and the rest of the group had made a collection to pay for the ticket and to give me a little bit of extra money for expenses. I had been around on the Mexican side of the border all morning. I was wondering how the heck I was going to get across that border and enter the United States of America without any Canadian picture IDs. After all, we are in 2006, 5 years or so after 9/11. I have been staring, like I just look at the fucking thing. I have been staring at the river, the Rio Grande, that natural border separating Mexico and USA, asking God, how am I to get in there? Like in America, right? Some 30-ish old guy watching me hang around came to talk to me. I let him know that I was Canadian, that I was heading back to Canada, and to do so, I had to get into the States, but I had no papers, like I just did the report from Mexico, right? He said that he could help me to get across at night with a floating device. I thought to myself, yeah, he would help me, all right, but probably not for free. And if I'll get caught, then what? He laughed and told me that he is usually around, and if I would require his help, to let him know. Well, sure, whatever, buddy. Thanks and have a good day. I looked at the river and looked and looked. God, how am I getting across? Just go. So I went, but before I changed my remaining pesos into US dollar, I got a $10 and kept a few pesos. A bridge crosses the Rio Grande. If you go into the States, you have to take the right sidewalk. It costs 3 pesos. Once you get on the American side of the bridge, the sidewalk goes right into the border control building. I walked in that building just before noon. The lady custom officer asked me for papers. I said I am Canadian. My ID got stolen and I gave her my in Spanish, Cancun Police Robbery Report. Right? He said 2-8. A 50-year-old officer came to see me. In a side room, he performed a full strip search. He's okay, well, get naked, whatever, on me. Then we did nothing too, like just butt naked on me. Then we went into the main office. But I get close. He searched me, and then I get dressed up again, and then I went to the office. I didn't go in the office butt naked. Come on, get your mind out of the gutter or something. My backpack was detailed searched. I was interviewed by a female officer sitting at a computer under the scrutiny of 2 other male officers. My fingerprints were scanned, then my old Canadian criminal record quickly came up. But the old one, not the old one. I had nothing real bad on my record, and nothing new for the past 21 years. Then my strip searching officer asked me, "You ready to go?" "Sure," but I didn't know exactly where I was going. We left the main building, the main office, right turn. If I would have turned left, man, it would somewhere back to Mexico or in a van or jail, whatever. But we turned right. Then he buzzed the gate open and said, "Welcome to the United States of America. Thanks." He said, or should I have written, he said, "Good luck." And I left, man. Chapter Borders Crossings. USA, Canada, June 2006. What a beautiful 5 weeks and 3 days in San Antonio. While I was hitchhiking there from the Mexican border, I had planned my hitchhike route to Canada. The plan was San Antonio, Dallas, covering towards Memphis, thinking of perhaps visiting the Elvis Presley estate. I think it's like Graceland or something, but anyway, I didn't write it down. The Elvis Presley estate, then going a little bit north of New York and proceed to Van Buren on the American side and Saint Leonard, New Brunswick border, and ending up my trip from Saint Leonard, just cut across, and ending my trip in the Gaspé Peninsula. Hey, a well thought of plan, but it's not the way I ended up getting into Canada. When I made up that plan, I had never thought that I would have been able to work in the state. I did it in Mexico, right? But I did. I worked 25 days out of 38 in San Antonio. Reference chapter on the roads, odd jobs. I took a Greyhound bus, San Antonio, Montreal. While in San Antonio, I managed to get myself some kind of picture ID through the main office of the Salvation Army. They have a free program that supplies picture ID to people that don't have any. Not only a very good quality picture appeared on the plastic card, but they also get your right thumb print on it. An extremely official looking ID card, and was a legally issued one too. Everything is legal, man. Even though I have been quite fortunate crossing borders without much problems, just think of the crossing from Mexico to USA, but now I have to cross into Canada. I am a little better prepared this time to show I have my Cancun Police Robbery Report and my brand spanking new Salvation Army ID. Hopefully that will be sufficient to get across. If not, who knows? Maybe I couldn't get back in the States. I would be stuck in between both borders in the no man's land. Just before midnight, our full bus lined up at the border. Just before midnight. We got out in order, one by one. I was about in the middle of the bus group. Some lady with a kid ahead of me, maybe 3 or 4 people ahead of me, had some paper problems and was waiting to the side to be processed. My San Antonio ID card and a Cancun Police Spanish robbery report seemed to annoy the worked there for a million years Canadian border officer. He wasn't too impressed. He looked at the rest of the lineup and with a shrug gave me a stamped form and waved me through. I am back on the bus.